Hello and welcome to Producer Profile. Producer Profile is a show where we showcase some of the talented people who work behind the scenes in the entertainment, business, and local communities while making positive influences on the lives of others.
Hello, Stella, Winston,
Hello, Orville Nelson.
and welcome to,
Producer Profile.
and we have the fabulous
They opinionated.
Shannon,
Lottie,
Shannon,
Dobson.
Lottie, Dodson, Shannon.
Sorry.
Dodson, Shannon.
Lottie, Dobson.
Did you
That's
write this
okay.
up? Did you write this up?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
That's no problem, no problem.
Okay. The name of Lottie's show is Keeping It Real with Shannon.
With Shannon.
Right. And it's a varied show, right? You have
Right,
all
it's-
types of
It's talk
singing.
show and entertainment,
Yes,
yeah,
talk show.
variety, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of fun on your show.
Yes.
You
I
really
do.
enjoy.
Yes. I
your
love
show.
entertaining. I like entertainment, so it's all about entertaining people. But I mean, you know, we're serious on some shows. We have had some serious shows when I did domestic violence with a young lady killing her boyfriend. So, you know, sometimes we get serious, but I'm not that serious a person, so, you know.
I know. Yeah, there's that laugh. That's
Yes.
that famous Lottie's laugh, right?
So, how long is it Keeping It Real with Shannon been on the air?
I aired in September 1996.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long
So,
time.
yeah, you're a good time producer here. I didn't realize that.
Yes, yes.
You're
well
a veteran.
kept secret.
Yeah,
Well
you're a
kept secret,
veteran. It's a
yeah.
well-kept secret. I
Well
didn't
kept
realize that.
secret.
Has it always been Keeping It Real with Shannon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you start off as a weekly or?
I started off as a monthly, and then when I felt comfortable, then I moved to a weekly.
Okay.
I
So,
felt I could handle it then.
so we've said this. Tell us, when does the show come on?
It comes on every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Cable Vision 68 and Time 1 and 35.
Okay, 5:30 p.m. on Saturdays.
Right.
Cable Vision, 68.
Right, and
Time
Time
1
1
at
and
35.
Good time. You should be having dinner just about that time.
Okay. So with this good stuff that we have a B-roll.
Yeah, yeah. I have a B-roll. You'll see the intro to my my shows, and then you'll see my favorite shows. Like these were my favorite guests that I had on the show, and so I put a couple of those slides together
So
for you.
Stella, should we see B-roll?
Yeah, let's go to the videotape,
All right.
Orville.
Okay.
Right, so get ready and let's bring on no other.
The pathway to their heart.
Lord, you should know I'm a star. Doing something to say, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. Now, when you first started to talking about let's change to the positive side, what kind of response did you get from the members in the organization?
It's a it gets mixed up because some of the older guys are like, look, Tone, we're gonna look soft and
Right.
then jail, because in jail, being hard is what gets you by, you know. So if King Tone's in the street making us look like pacifists and we're not really out there gunslinging no more, it makes other groups think, hey, this is time to go in and so a lot of my peers were nervous, they were scared, but I told them is that we got to endure the test of time in this change, because either way, if we kill each other, we losing, and if we just give the feds what they want is greed, go for the money, go for the bacon fast time, we'll lose. So the kids are pretty much thinking, hey, Tone, you said we're going to start this, you know, we don't agree with it, but let's see what it turns out to be.
Okay, so you weren't a very good student. So some of the young people today feel that since they're not getting good grades, that they can't make it.
I think that there was something always in my mind and in my heart about my ability to be smart. There was always in the back of my mind this notion that even though I might not have done the extra credit, or I didn't even do that well on the initial assignment, I always knew I could. And it was a matter of my discipline. It was a matter of how much I wanted to apply myself. That if there was something else I wanted to do, if I wanted to find a way to get down to go see a concert, or if I wanted to get down to New York City, I always found a way. I mean, I'd work very hard to go do that. So I knew that there was enough motivation, that there was enough effort, and that with that effort it would pay off in my studies. But I just didn't apply myself, is really what I mean by not being a good student. And it wasn't until probably the end of my senior year that it became clear to me, as I started thinking about going to college, that, you know, I really, really have the ability to do something here if I want to. And I would tell young people now, you have to, ultimately, this is all going to come from within. It is in your mind, it is in your heart, and you have to actually be able to access those feelings.
How did you get involved in the World Literacy Program? And what did you really see some of the results of the program?
Well, I've always wanted to be involved in something to help mankind, especially the children. And when I saw a program that was established in LA by Reverend Alfred Johnson using the L. Ron Hubbard study technology, I said, I want to get involved in this. And before I could even ask, could I get involved, he asked me to become their international spokesperson.
Oh, wonderful. I
got involved. I mean, it was wonderful, so good. And I've seen wonderful, like miraculous things happen to people's lives, and not only to kids, but adults as well, who gets to study tech and use it, apply it. They learn to read and write. They learn to become more able, more productive. They make contributions, and they take on responsibilities. It's a wonderful thing, and we need this in all of the inner cities. In fact, we spread it all over the world.
Word for the weak and the strong or whatever, but how do you see your ministry? How do you see spreading your ministry through your songs?
Oh, I mean, that's the whole reason why I sing. I mean, I sing to the hurting, people sing to change people's lives, to save souls. Then there's another side of me that wants to make you laugh. I don't like to see anybody despondent or depressed. Or I like to make sure to assure and reassure people that their past does not dictate their future. There's a lot of songs of healing and a lot of songs I've sang through my pain and through experiences that I've gone through that I've been triumphant in. And I just thank God for the songs that He does give me. Because
okay. Yeah. Well, the beginning, the introduction to your show was such high energy. It's beautiful to watch and to hear.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I wanted to do something that reflects me, you know, because I'm high energy, very hyper.
And we have to also mention that the music for your opening is done by
Franz, Butler. Right. His music, and he's also in the process now of producing my original music for the show. We haven't finished that yet. But for now, that's the theme music from his.
And everybody, Franz Butler is the producer of
Producer Profile.
Okay, so remember that name.
Yes.
Okay. Now you interviewed there. You saw there were a few people you interviewed, but I'm curious because I heard that Chancellor Crew was one of the your most nervous interviews. Why were you so nervous?
Because that was my boss. So to interview your boss, I mean, you know, interview the chancellor, you know, I didn't want to make sure I said the wrong thing, make sure the right verb came out and everything, you know, so I was a nervous wreck that night. And, you know, he was such a nice person because he said, I don't understand you being nervous, Lottie, because as much as your mouth go, I know you can't afford it. I said, well, can I just be myself tonight? And he said, yes. I said, well, fine, then I'm much better. And after that, straight sailing. We didn't have any more problems. You know?
So I didn't see the show, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, in that interview with him was really good because I wanted people to see the other side. See, you only see the leader, the educator side, but you don't see the human side of him. And for that interview, we just talked about him, what kind of person he was, so people could see there's a human side to him, and he tells jokes all the time. And it was really, really, I enjoyed that interview.
Now the interview with the Latin King, the head of the Latin King's Tone.
King Tone.
What was that all about? I was curious about that. Is he still the leader?
No, well, he's back in jail now. He was the leader of the Latin Kings at that time, and so you know, I always watched him, you know, and I knew one of the members that was in the gang, so I asked could I get to meet King Tone and interview him, and I did. I went and met with him and everything, and that was his show was my 1 minute fame it came on Inside Edition and they
really?
the day I interviewed him, the cameraman was following him all day, and they came here to the studio. And what happened was, when they got ready to air it, they gave me 1 minute of fame. They showed me interviewing him, so like I was on cloud 9. I was on Inside Edition, So that was really
that's
my
wonderful.
1 minute of fame.
That's
interview.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Right, that's wonderful. Now, what happened? He wound up going to.
He ended up back in jail. 'Cause what happened was, they were trying to change the Latin Kings, to do better, and I think they would have. But once you are labeled something like that, the police and everyone else is not going to give you the opportunity to do that. So eventually, he ended up getting in trouble again. So he's back in jail now.
Now, Vicki Winan, how was that interview?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just so excited to get a chance to interview her. She was coming to Friendship Baptist Church, so the guy that was in charge called me and asked me that I want to interview her. I said, has she agreed to it? And he says, yes. I said, great. So I got it. I got there. And she answered, yeah, of course. No, because I wasn't going to come and interview, and then, how singers are when they get there, they ain't got time for that. And I said, no, only if she has agreed to it. So when she comes, I don't want any mess. She gonna come and give me the interview, right? And she did. She was real nice when she arrived. She sat and talked to me we talked for a good 20 minutes. I couldn't show everything, and then she went on to perform. So that was
Your lineup is impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Isaac Hayes, how'd you get that one?
Yes.
Well, Isaac Hayes, I had met him before. So the girl, he's with that Scientologist thing, and one of the girls that worked there, she called and asked me that I want to come to the Christmas party because he was going to be there. And I says, well, is he going to give me an interview? And so she said, well, I'll set it up for you. So he agreed to give me the interview. So that's how I got the interview with him. So, well, how it is, And then he gave me my little prop the next day on the radio. He was saying that he spoke to Lottie, Dodson, Shannon, and she has a show on. So I was really excited.
You heard it in that deep voice.
Oh yeah.
And with all this good stuff that you've been showing us, you have more for us?
Oh yeah. Well, I also do singing. So I'm into a lot of gospel, but I also do rhythm and blues. People that play instruments, horn, anything that wants to come on, I bring them on or whatever. So I like a variety of talent. But if you ask me what my favorite music is, I would say gospel. So you would see that I do a lot of gospel on there, but it's not geared to gospel.
Now, who are we going to see on this viewer?
Well, I have the Revelation of Times is coming on. I have Lonnie Youngblood that plays the sax. I have this group from Far Rockaway, the Divine Stars, and then I have a rhythm and blues group, Sandy Anderson and Keith Godwin, and I also have on Evangelist Jonathan Sales and Raymond Charles from Wayside.
Okay, so let's see the video.
This is good singing, good singing.
Let's have a good time.
So we're back.
Yes, we are.
Now, that was a lot of music there. Could you tell us, in terms of Lonnie Youngblood, how was it working with Lonnie Youngblood?
Well, he was really an interesting person because he had a story to tell, and plus he had a testimony to tell. Because, you know, he's real famous way back then, and he's still now, but he was very famous in Europe. But when he started out with his group here, he was very famous, played at the Cotton Club and all over the place. And, you know, as a young person getting out in the music world, you end up on drugs. And that's what happened to him. He ended up on drugs and strung out and everything. And he told his story about how he was out there and then how he came back. So to hear him talk about it, and to, you know, it was like a testimony in it himself, because his mother, he wanted to do this for his mother, and as soon as he gotten himself together, about 2 years later, his mother passed. And then he can just play that sax to, like, I just think he's brilliant, you know, and I always love to see people who play instruments anyway, you know, and to see how he gets all into it. So, I really had to track him down. I found this, I couldn't find him, and then I was driving down Fulton Street and I saw his picture in the window. He was performing at this place, and I got out of my car and I went inside, and he was there, so I just walked up to him and told him I had been looking for him.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, you know, you have to be brave with these things, you know.
True, because you do have a show and you need guests.
Yeah.
So.
Now, do you sing, Lottie? Are you musical?
Well, I can't really sing, but, you know, I sung in my church choir. I sing backup with the choir. I've led a couple of songs before, but I'm not a leader. See, I know what, you know, some people are leaders that can lead songs, but I can sing better in the background.
But you grew up in a musical family.
Yeah, my brother is a gospel singer. He has a gospel group called the Helping Hand Gospel Singers.
And what's his name?
Bill Dodson. And my uncle in North Carolina has a gospel
You say
group
your uncle?
also. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my southern accent. You know, so.
And I jumped on that. You said your uncle
He lives in North Carolina. So he used to have a gospel group, and they used to go around singing and everything. So, you know, there's a lot of people in the family that sings. So, you know, I'm not the singer, but I know music.
And you grew up with this around you.
Right. I know music, yeah.
Is this important for people to have this in the home, to bring this towards their kids, to open music?
Oh, yeah, because music brings you together. Because I can remember just in my own home, we play music after dinner, and people would sit around and we, you know, call ourselves singing or whatever, you know, and then my brother would be singing and stuff like that. And then when we would go to North Carolina, we would be at my uncle's house, and he has like 13 kids, right? And so like about 4 of his sons plays the guitar and stuff, right? And so it was like, it was almost like they was having church
you entertain yourselves.
Right, and this is a way of bringing family together through music, you know.
Instead of just having a TV there, everybody just...
Exactly. Down there you couldn't be looking at a lot of TV down south. Forget that.
All right.
You had to be doing something, you know, and this is what happened.
It's good to hear that, Lottie.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that.
Now, you host your show and you produce your show.
Right.
What is it like producing your show? Do you
well, I love the producing part because eventually that's what I'm going to be. I've been working with some people that have let host my show a couple of times, and I'm just waiting until I feel that chemistry from the person, because I want them to have that same personality that I feel when I'm talking to someone and everything. And I've been working with someone that has hosted a couple of my shows, and I'm leaning towards her so I can spend more time producing, because I like to put things together. So I know I would make a good producer, because I know I'm going to be the next woman, Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not worried about it, you know. So I need that time to concentrate on that, and that's what I'd eventually like to do, is just to producing.
Now, you mentioned some of your hosts. Is there some of the names you can mention that you've had?
Yeah, one of the person I let host, well, she's about the only one I let host, is Amate Sayas. And, you know, she has a great personality. She feels people, and you know, she can tell jokes right on the spur of the moment, you know, when you're talking to someone, you know. Now, so I like that, you know.
Now, I worked on one of your shows where she was on, and the show was What's Love Got to Do with It?
Got to do with it.
And that was a very interesting show she had. And you had 3 panelists, and they
Right.
discussed
What's
what
love
got to do with it.
Well, I had Derek Keith. He was also going to co-host with me that day, but I also had him on as a guest as well with Amate. And our special guest was Lydia Slowly, who's also an evangelist. And she does empowerment workshops, and she does a lot of work with women, and she's spiritual, you know, and everything. So I wanted to have like a balance, you know, her talking from the spiritual side. Also, Amate is a minister too, and then Derek, I wanted him to come from the man point of view, you know, so this way we'd all come up to how we talk about love from, you know, different sides, because everyone does not look at love in the same way. You may think love is one way, and I might think it's another way. So we want to have that kind of balanced discussion, talking about relationships and love, and, you know, your love with your children or whatever, you know. But mostly relationships we talked about.
Now, you say you love producing. Like, how did that show come together for you? How did it happen?
Well, what happened was I came to a meeting way before BCAT was even built. It was just an ideal. They wanted to put BCAT together. So I came representing my organization that I was working for at that time, which was Mega Evers College. And so I came to the meeting. They talked about how they was going to put BCAT together, blah, 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 and all this. So then after that, even after BCAT was built and everything, I didn't come right away, you know. And Anita and I served on the community board together, and I used to constantly be running into her, right?
And you said Anita.
Anita is
the director of BCAT. So
Howard
she kept
Nance.
saying, why don't you do a show? And I says, well, you know, I would like to. I said, because, you know, that was my major in college. You know, I graduated with a communications TV production degree, but at that time, I couldn't get a job because everyone would say, oh, well, you don't have any experience. You know, when I went to ABC, NBC, and then plus I did my internship at Channel 5. Well, you have to have experience. Well, if you don't hire me, how am I going to get any experience? You know. So the guy said at Channel 5, he said, well, why don't you move to another state and work at a smaller television station and then come back? I said, I can't do that. I'm not uprooting, moving someplace else, right? So, you know, I kind of sort of forgot about it. But, you know, God is still good. You know, he's still on the battlefield. So we went around in a circle. I ended up in education, but I used my media communications. Every time I could get a chance, I was doing it. And so then when BCAT came along, I knew that was my opportunity to jump on it then. So this way, I was really getting the experience of actually producing a show. So now, if I talk to someone at the network, I can say, yes, I do produce a show.
Which now brings us to, what are your future plans, Lottie? I know you have some things in the works.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get, not going to give it all
tell you
away.
all my little secrets, you know. I mean, I have some things in the works that I would like to do, but not at this time where I can like just go into details about them. But like I said to you before, producing is really what I want to do. So what I want to do is really produce some quality shows and then move into maybe doing maybe a documentary or either maybe just doing a film or something, because I'm thinking about a film in the background that of someone that I want to do about their life story. And I've been talking to them about it, and so, you know, eventually that's where I'd like to move to, is producing movies as well as TV shows, a sitcom or so. I would love to produce a sitcom. Comedy, something I would love to do something like that, something with energy in it, you know, because, you know, I can't have anything that's dead, you know.
Okay. Now, can you tell us about any upcoming shows, any upcoming guests for your shows?
Yeah, well, I did a show with a comedian, a gospel comedian that's going to be airing soon, Will Michael Boyd from Connecticut. He was doing Christian jokes. So that's kind of on the rise now. And they're coming out with the gospel rappers now. So, you know, I'll probably be doing a little more of that.
I'm curious as to
people.
what Christian jokes are.
Well, mostly they talk about people in church. You know, it's something about something going on in church. You know, it could be the deacon.
So they're parodying people in the church.
The clothes they wear.
Yeah, the clothes they wear. You
The way they
know,
scratched it.
or they could be sleeping in church.
Putting money in and taking it out.
Right. And they talk about the offering, because a lot of people think the church asks for too much money and have too many offerings and stuff. So they crack jokes on things like that, you know. So, you know, he was talking about things like that. And like a lot of times, you know, people call me and ask me would I come and tape a show for them. Like, they're having this big thing at Prospect Park. There's a problem now with the park not being funded like it should. So they are having a forum, and matter of fact, the girl just called me today and asked me would I come and interview the candidates who are running for borough president. and talk to them about why the city is not giving money to the parks and if they're gonna commit themselves to doing it. And I also just covered an event not too long ago where some people in Brownsville was having a problem with their housing and issues out there, and they had a demonstration in the street, so I went and I covered that. So sometimes things like that will come up and people want you to cover it or whatever.
Well, that park situation kind of left me a little disturbed. Can you say something really quickly?
Well, we're coming to the end. I want to thank you for coming to Producer Profile.
Well, thank you
Lottie.
for inviting me.
Yes,
I
and
certainly
can you
enjoyed
please say when your show comes on?
It comes on every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Cablevision 68 and Time Warner 35.
And it's called Keeping It Real.
Keeping It Real with Shannon. So if you want to be real, get real. Make sure you watch it.
Is there any contact numbers you'll give or anything?
Yeah, they can. The number's always up at the end of the show, or they can email me at keepinitshannon@aol.com.
And how do you spell Keeping It, Shannon?
All together, just Keeping It Shannon.
K-E-E-P.
I-N-G.
SHANNON. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Orville Nelson. And thank you so much, Shannon. Excuse me, Lottie.
Lottie.
Shannon.